Is your salary enough to live comfortably in Germany? In this video, I'm going to give you a complete cost of living breakdown of a normal working person in Germany, so that you know what you can expect here. So for this video, I talked to my guy Hans. Hans is a typical 25-year-old fresh university graduate in the city of Munich. He studied business in his master's, and after that, he was able to get a job with a 55,000 per year salary, which equates to about 2,900 euros net per month that he can spend however he wants. Now you might be wondering, how does this apply to me? Hans is just one example of a normal lifestyle in Germany, but whether you are a student, a young professional, or someone planning to move here, you can easily adapt this entire breakdown in this video to your own situation. Think of Hans as a starting point. You can scale up or down based on your salary, city, and lifestyle choices. So let me break down Hans' expenses for you. So first, rent is the thing Hans spends the most money on. In Munich, you'll be looking at somewhere between 900 and 1,400 euros per month for a normal one-bedroom apartment, depending on your living situation. If you are in a shared apartment, or WG as they call it in Germany, your rent might be closer to 800 to 1,000 euros. Living in a shared apartment is a popular option for students and young professionals because it's more affordable. But if you want your own place, like a one-bedroom apartment, prepare to pay upwards of 1,200 to 1,400 in the city center. Munich's rental market is tough because of the high demand and limited supply. Trust me, in other parts of Germany, it's much easier to find accommodation. Okay, so let's say Hans pays 1,000 euros rent for his single bedroom apartment a little bit outside of the city center. He used to live in a shared apartment for his entire student life, and he now wants some autonomy and freedom. But the 1,000 euros is only the basic rent, the so-called cold rent, because there are also utilities which will cost Hans 150 euros per month. And this includes everything from electricity and heating to water in the house. Hans has an internet plan with normal speed, which adds another 30 euros. And there is also the mandatory TV and radio license called GEZ, which costs 18 euros 36 per month. It's one of these unavoidable expenses. Everybody has to pay this in Germany, even if you don't use a TV or listen to the radio. So in total, the so-called warm rent for Hans is 1,150 euros per month. Now for this video, I picked the most expensive city in Germany on purpose. Looking at the extreme case like Munich should give you a pretty good overview. With that said, other cities in Germany will be much more affordable. In cities like Berlin or Cologne, you will find rents for one-bedroom apartments from 700 to 1,000 euros. And in even smaller towns, you can go as low as 500 euros. And yes, the salary is also lower in these cities, but you get much more for your money. So to be honest, the biggest difference between all these cities is just the rent. If you want to make your own calculations, you can adjust the rent for your city. The rest of the expenses like transportation and groceries stay roughly the same. Okay, let's move on to groceries. Hans likes to spend around 250 euros per month here, and this is the average grocery bill for a single person in Germany. Hans usually shops at standard supermarkets like Aldi and Lidl, and he also gets all the basics like pasta and vegetables. Nothing too crazy. Some items are organic as well, like the eggs that he buys. Hans doesn't like fish but loves to make a good schnitzel at home. Meat is quite expensive nowadays though, so he limits his consumption of it. And for dining out and entertainment, Hans spends about 200 euros each month. Since Hans is busy working, he sometimes has to eat lunch at a restaurant near his company. Now, eating out at restaurants in Munich typically costs 15 to 20 euros per meal. Normal drinks at cafes or bars range from 4 euros to 15 euros each. And if you enjoy going out, whether it's for dinner, some beer or a night out with friends, you can spend a lot of money here in Germany. And this is where a lot of people lose the overview and stand in shock at the end of the month. Alright, let's talk about transportation. This is Hans' second biggest expense, and you will find out in a second why. Now, Munich has a fantastic public transport system. I would say apart from the S-Bahn, it's very reliable and also clean. And at the moment, there is something called the Deutschland ticket in Germany. And this one ticket allows you to take all the local and regional trains in Germany for a flat price of 58 euros per month. And Hans likes taking the train because it's really convenient in Munich. But he also decided to buy his first car right after graduating from university because he values the flexibility that comes with it. He got himself a BMW 116i, a nice and reliable German car to go on road trips with his friends. And in total, he pays 450 euros per month on his car lease, fuel and insurance. This is the second biggest expense. Now, as a responsible adult, Hans also has a couple of personal insurance plans. Health insurance is actually a big ticket item. In Germany, it's mandatory, and if you're employed, the cost is deducted automatically from your gross salary. So for this reason, I won't include it in the calculation here. So with his salary, the amount for Hans is 350 euros per month. And this health insurance covers most medical needs. Then there is also liability insurance. This one is called Haftpflichtversicherung in German, and this one covers damages caused by you in everyday life. It's not mandatory, but highly recommended because it protects against financial risks. And for Hans, it costs 30 euros per month. There are also other optional insurances like home contents insurance, but Hans doesn't have them. Okay, next we've got fitness and leisure. Hans currently has a gym membership that costs him around 29 euros. He's a member of a popular gym chain in Germany and works out 3 times a week after work. He also likes to go running with his friends, but you know, this one is free. Now, Hans also likes to spend some money on monthly subscriptions and other expenses. He has a Netflix subscription, Spotify, and also some other stuff that adds up to 50 euros per month. His phone plan is a normal one. He pays 15 euros per month for 15 gigabytes of mobile data. And sometimes he has to buy things like toilet paper, cleaning materials, or some clothes. And for this, he calculates about 70 euros per month on average. Now, the salary that Hans gets is quite feasible for a university graduate with a master's degree in Munich. And after all the expenses are deducted, there's still some money left for Hans. So option 1, he could go and spend this on liquor and ladies and gamble with crypto meme coins, or we can now talk about savings and investments. So spending money is nice, but Hans is also once again a very responsible adult and saves the rest of his paycheck. So in his case, about 550 euros are left. So he invests 400 of it into an ETF and the rest goes into a savings account. Life isn't always predictable. There are always these surprise costs. Maybe your fridge breaks or you get an unexpected medical bill. And this is why Hans always keeps a small emergency fund, enough to cover a few months of living expenses. It's his financial safety net. Now, why does Hans invest in ETFs specifically? Now, this is one of the simplest and safest ways to grow money over time. It's not too flashy, but it's reliable. It's always good to build the savings muscle as a good habit because, you know, you can plan for bigger goals like traveling, during holidays, and buying a property in the future. I would say Hans' lifestyle is a pretty normal one, and if you copy his habits and what he is doing, you can actually build and live a very comfortable, safe life in Germany. Of course, you can also spend more, maybe get a better car and save nothing. Or on the other hand, you can also live very frugally and save more than 1,000 euros per month. It all depends on how comfortable you feel spending money. Regardless of your situation, I can always recommend saving some money from your paycheck and creating an emergency fund. Ideally, savings should cover at least 6 months of living expenses. Let me know what your cost of living is in the comments down below. And next, check out this video about the best way to save money in Germany. Love you and stay focused.